All right. So in Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indy shows up at this cavern and it's got all these weird floor panels. So he says to his sidekick, I don't know about this. But he goes anyways. And afterwards, Indy in Short Round, the sidekick I was referencing earlier, gets stuck in this room. And Indy is like, oh, well, at least we aren't dying. And then spikes come out of the ceiling and Short Round is like, Dr. Jones. And Indy is like, oh my fucking God, dude, no way. So they have to talk to this lady through the bug tunnel, but she got there because they were all on a plane. And Indy was like, don't worry about anything, you guys. This is just a plane ride. And after the pilot jumps out while Indy and Shorty and Lady are napping, and Indy wakes up and is like, oh shit. So they all have to learn how to fly a plane, but they can't do that. So they crash land and they have to deploy this life raft thing to slide down a mountain. And they end up in this airport, and Indy has to fight this guy with a sword that's way bigger than him, but he doesn't back down at all. But he kind of gets his ass kicked. And Short Round is like, Indy, duck. And he looks up and the jet engine from the plane is going to get all close. So Indy is like, oh shit, dude, and moves. And the guy gets sucked into the jet engine and explodes, which makes Indy go back into town. But now all the villagers are sad because some kids are missing or something. And Indy is like, oh shit, your kids? And so he and Lady agree to help the village. And he shows the lady around the cave near the town, but she gets caught by the cavemen who are chanting this really crazy chant before they pull people's guts out. And Indy is like, oh shit. So he has to find a way to infiltrate the League of Extraordinary Cavemen. So he agrees to drink the blood that is making all these cave boys all trippy, and he joins them. But it's like a secret because Short Round comes back and he's like, dude, they took me too. And Indy just winks, and Short Round is like, oh, I get you. So they team up and they take out the cave folk and they go back to the town, and everyone is sticking their hands out and rubbing Indy's coat. And the lady and Short Round and Indy go to a palace to make sure the village is taken care of. But they get served some monkey brain soup, and the lady is like, Indy. And he's like, it's fine, dude. It's just soup. And the emperor is a child, but he asks Indy if he'll help because they have to go find where Jesus was buried. And he's like, yeah, I mean, that sounds right up my alley, honestly. And so they enter into a mutual agreement of sorts. And the emperor is like, first you have to meet this guy at a casino. And Indy is like, okay, I have the perfect white tux for that. And he shows up at the casino and he's like, ha 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 ha. Well, good dinner, Mr. Chang. And Mr. Chang is like, ha 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 ha. Good dinner, Mr. Jones. Did you want that antidote? And Mr. Jones is like, antidote to what? And Mr. Chang is like, the poison you just drank. And Indy's like, oh shit. So he makes sure to jump on him and steal the antidote, but it rolls around for a while, which makes Indy get into this car chase with Short Round. And he's like, oh shit. And they zoom around town, and eventually Indy remembers he has to go find where Jesus is buried. So Indy and Short Round fly to Sean Connery's house. And then he's like, remember when you were a kid? And Indy is like, yeah, dude, of course. And he's like, I'm your dad. And Indy is like, yeah, I know that. And he's like, you got to find the cave the town was talking about. And Indy's like, I know. So Indy takes a horse ride with Sean Connery into the sunset. And while the picture fades out, Indy shows up at this cavern and it's got all these weird panels on the floor in Raiders of the Lost Ark.